Perfect. Pressing go live in 3, 2, 1. And we're live. Pressing go live in 3, 2, 1. Pressing go live in 3, 2. Pressing go live in 3.
And like Loki, we're in an infinite loop.
And we're live.
Yes, we are.
And we're live. Go live in 3, 2. Perfect. Great stuff. Don't you just love these technical things?
Loki,
Yeah.
and
Hello.
Loki, we're in an infinite loop.
And we're live.
Someone's got another window open.
And we're live.
Well,
And they're not wearing
stuff.
headphones on top of it, but yeah.
is it me?
Must be you.
Must be.
Yeah.
Or it's either Mike or Andre then.
It's not me.
Well, I'm wearing a headset.
I think it was Mike. Welcome everybody to our haphazardly done Loki episode 1 review.
Yeah, so that happened. Loki, everyone. How excited were we all for that going in?
It's Paulie.
But before that, I just want to say greetings to everyone that's watching. Thanks for joining us for this very special bonus panel of Loki. How fun is that going to be? And it's perfect. We messed up on the technical side to begin with there, but not as badly as they messed up on the creative side in creating the series in the first place. So yeah, but we have quite a few people watching here. I see we have House Atreides, we have Mr. Tickle Trunk, both of them back again. We have Nuanced Observer wondering what happened to the normal live stream. Oh, that went just fine earlier today. Mecha J wonders what's up. Well, certainly not Loki. And Daniel even sent us $5 asking, who's the headphone culprit? A mystery 5 times more intriguing than who's the villain in Loki. Yeah, that's a good point. Mr. Tickletrunk says Andre is incredibly quiet. That's annoying, but we'll see what we can do about it.
Well, you sound like you're trying to be quiet a little bit too, like you're talking really low.
Oh, yeah, this is not an accident. It's past midnight here, so yeah. And Taylor Ramirez says for $2, no tech problems equals melted. Yeah, of course you have to have something. And it's better that we have those issues now than at some other time. So yeah. But getting into the main topic at hand, Loki. Tom, let's begin with you. How excited were you going into the series before we get what you felt about the series as a whole?
Why do you do this shit to me? Oh man. Initially I was excited. And then as we got going along with like WandaVision, I wasn't so sure, and I didn't watch Falcon and Winter Soldier. So I kind of went into this I don't know, with tempered expectations. But I did get a bit spoiled because it was all over the place. So who knows how I would have really felt going into this. I mean, again, if you take away the Gina Carano thing that really kind of spoiled me on Disney, I probably would have been more excited. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. Absolutely. And Paulie, how about you? How excited were you for a Loki series in the first place?
Well, I love the actor. So, I was kind of excited for that. I love his character in the other movies. And it definitely looked interesting. and I think that's all about the excitement level before going in. It was kind of, other than that, I really wasn't marking anything on my calendar until a couple days ago. It was like, oh yeah, okay, it's gonna start.
And as for me, um, prior to the Gina Carano, prior to WandaVision, I was actually very excited for this series. Um, it was the only of the Marvel series that I actually was excited by in the slightest. All of the stuff that was announced didn't care, except for Loki. Loki is badass, and I've enjoyed every single movie and every performance that he's had. Loki is perfectly portrayed by Tom Hiddleston. So yeah, I was excited. And then you had like the whole Gina Carano thing, which came at the same time as WandaVision. Now, I don't know what was the bigger disappointment. I think probably WandaVision. WandaVision was so bad, so incredibly bad. It just killed it for me. It killed my interest completely. In all things Marvel, I completely lost my faith in the MCU. I didn't even watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I haven't regretted that for one moment. And then there's this. This is something I should have been excited about, but in the end, I wasn't. Instead, it was just like, yeah, okay, so that's coming out now, then, oh, I guess I better watch that since there's obviously some kind of demand for it, for us talking about it. So here we are. So it's something that I kind of like watch mostly out of commitment, but I didn't feel any kind of need to watch it, not in the slightest, which is embarrassing, or it's not embarrassing, but it's like kind of a shame because it's something that I wanted to be excited for and I wanted to like. Of the two, I got neither, but we'll get into that. So, Tom, what did you think about Loki now that we have it?
Well, did we get everybody's first initial
Yeah, we
feelings?
got
Okay.
yeah.
I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. I'm trying to decide whether or not I like it yet. Paulie brought up an interesting point this morning on the show. Um, I'm one like him. I kind of like to see 2-3 episodes before I really give my full on opinion. But then again, we've learned with things like WandaVision, you can get really into the show and it can go sideways quick. Am I expecting that to happen here? Not necessarily, but I I didn't hate it. There's moments where stupid shit took me out of it. We'll probably get into that later, but otherwise, for the most part, I thought it was all right. I guess that's the best I can say right now.
Paulie, how about you?
Well, I believe I'm the only person that has seen it twice. And I saw it in the middle of the night, and then I saw it just a little while ago. And I have to say, really enjoyed it on the second one. Um, just just it's Tom Hiddleston, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, Tom Hiddleston and Owens, just their acting alone, I really, it hooked me enough to where the stuff that I didn't like or eyeballed or rolled my eyes over, I could forgive for now. Um, and I do have questions, obviously, but way more intriguing, way more interesting than any of the other two television shows. So I and like I said, with Tom, even after 3 episodes, I mean, what's this scheduled for?
6, is it 6 or is it 8 episodes? I honestly don't
I think
care.
it's 6, but then again, it will probably end up being 10.
Okay. Well,
no,
yeah,
no,
if that's the case, then maybe after the next episode, because because it's not a lot of episodes, where I can get really get a better feel or a better opinion. Where something that's like 16 episodes, 16, 20 episodic season, I got to watch at least 6 to 8, but at least a couple of episodes, then I could really you know see. But I other things that I really like, of course, I love the music, I love the score. It was really cool. The cinematography was pretty, the look of it I liked. The machines and the offices and all that stuff was just a direct uh page out of Terry Gilliam's Brazil. And that was cool. That's what I got so far.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciated some of the production and fun stuff they were doing with the whole time cop guys, TVA or whatever they are.
Yeah, to me that was actually one of the issues, because I will say that so far I did not like it. And that whole agency, that time cop agency thing, to me, that's actually a really, really big deal and a deal breaker. Not that that there is such a thing, but that it looks that way. That it is this Terry Gilliam bureaucracy, something that could have been taken straight out of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And so we're to believe that this has been right there in the MCU the whole time. And then you have like the whole can of worms about like predetermination and free will and everything like that. No, I don't like that.
You
To
know,
me, that just breaks canon. It violates everything too much. I'm not able to suspend my
after you
disbelief to
saying
that
that,
point.
and just thinking about what I just saw Az say on Twitter, I think I'm liking the show less. Because, yeah, he's right. They turn the Infinity Stones into a joke. They turn the fact that Loki is supposed to be a god into a joke. They need to give us something more to understand why these time people are supposed to be so significant. Because I'm kind of with Loki. Like, I get where you're coming from now too, a little bit more, Andre. Like, because I just literally finished watching this before we started the stream, so it's still kind of setting with me. So I'm sorry if I'm going to sound a little flip floppy here, guys, but
Oh, that's
yeah,
fine. It takes time for
I'm
opinions to
because I
mature.
didn't really enjoy it. I really didn't, because I'd known if I would have got some kind of joy out of it, despite it necessarily being a great or good show, then I would feel that and I would know that. Because, like, Paulie, for example, like when we talked about Mortal Kombat, we went back and forth on that a little bit, and I can acknowledge a lot of the problems that the movie had. I was just able to live with that because I enjoyed with it that much. I enjoyed it that much. Okay, on the other end of it, this is the opposite. Like, I'm not enjoying it on the other end, and the more I talk about it, the less I'm liking it, actually.
Yeah, and no, that's like the thing with me, that just that time cop agency and the implication of predeterminism, and that you don't really have free will. You're following the script that's been set out for you in advance. The closest thing or closest comparison I can bring with it is season 6 of Dexter. That
Oh,
is
you're
when
going to that
Scott,
depth?
yeah, I'm going to that depth. That is where Scott Buck had taken over as showrunner. So you still had, everything looked the same. The cast was the same. The interactions seemed to be the same. But although, again, I had no idea what had happened behind the scenes when I first saw it, but I could tell that something is very, very different and very, very wrong. And that's the same feeling that I get here. Something is deeply wrong. It's supposed to be the continuation of the MCU, but on some level it's not really. It doesn't feel that way. Something is wrong. because what they're saying here is that everything is predetermined. None of these characters that we've seen and loved and engaged with for a decade were ever free characters. They were literally just playing out their roles in a stage play, which is everything their movie was, because the implication of this, there's no free will in the Marvel Universe, in the one true timeline, that this external agency that's designed like a 1950s, 1960s bureaucracy thing. And I also got like horrendous flashbacks to WandaVision. I mean, someone here behind the scenes at Marvel have an unhealthy obsession with classic TV, since they have like the need to bring it up at every freaking chance they get, both in WandaVision and now here, with like that vintage aesthetics. And if they think that it serves any purpose, well, maybe in some sense WandaVision, although that didn't last, but here, it just makes me reject this shit outright. I wish it wasn't so, but that's how it is. And I'm hoping that it's gonna get better. But so far, one episode in, the more I think about it, the less I like it.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of where I'm getting now too. Is the more hearing you talk about it, and especially like the predetermined thing, because it even puts like a bit of a damper on the whole, like, you know, when Doctor Strange is like, I went through all these outcomes and there's only one outcome where we win. So okay, yeah, I get it. He's probably seeing the multiverse, but
Well,
I don't know
what multiverse? The Time Cop
exactly.
Agency got rid of the multiverse. Just one.
Yeah, well, at least, yeah, I don't understand this. I'm really trying to get my head around it. Maybe I need more context. I get that, but
Yeah. Paulie, you're much more zen and you actually
yeah,
liked the series. Tell us, how are we wrong?
No, I mean, I think writing wise, it's pretty weak, as far as connecting to what's been established for like what over 10 years now with all the movies.
Yeah.
That I just really, and even the second time around was like, okay, so you guys are so above you guys are so above the Infinity Stones and all that, so when do you interfere and when do you don't? What do you allow? You allow Thanos, but I think that was even mentioned when Loki even brought that up. It's like, you
Yeah,
let the
Thanos is
Avengers.
allowed. That was meant to be.
Yeah, right. And then that was kind of lazy as far as like, this that predetermined stuff really bugged me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was pretty, and then the whole casting, besides Owen Wilson, I didn't like any of the actors that represented them and the judge and the whole the whole that all of that was just kind of stupid. Hey,
and
Script.
welcome to Script Doctor, who's just joining us. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Sorry I'm late,
All right.
everybody. I was on a call, but yes, how is everyone's response to Loki?
Worse
It's
than
getting
I
lower
thought
key
it would
every
be.
minute by minute.
Yeah. Same with me. The more I think about it, the less like I had a weird feeling while watching it, and the more and more I think about it, the less and less I like it.
Yeah, it seems Marvel has that effect with their TV stuff. Not good for business, in my opinion.
No, like this is horrendous for the Marvel brand, because now we've had three Marvel series, and yeah, of course, you have the theoretical possibility that Loki could pick up steam. The possibility exists, but based on this first episode, we've now seen, is it 6 or 8 episodes?
I believe it's 6.
Well, then we've already seen 1/6 of the series. We already know the Marvel Universe is predetermined and there's no free will. I'm going to say that 3 out of 3 Disney Plus Marvel series so far have been duds.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, I suspect that this series will be the unraveling of that perfect timeline, so to speak, and thus lead into whatever's going on with Doctor Strange and Spider-Man No Way Home and all that stuff. I think that's where they're trying to go. That's my prediction really at the moment.
Yeah, I think you may be right that so far there has been no multiverse. It's just been this one true perfect timeline, and then whatever happens in this series is what's going to set up Multiverse of Madness. They'll deal with it there, but this is certainly where we're probably going to get in the various Sony universes. Maybe there will even be an X-Men universe or something. I don't know. Anyway, what is certain is that up until this point, there was no multiverse, and by the looks of it, there's going to be one afterwards. And maybe that's then how they're going to bring in X-Men and Spider-Man and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
Ollie.
I kind of groaned when they did that Jurassic Park. This is what's going on here.
Yes.
Cartoon.
Oh, fuck. That was Thank you for actually. Mike asked me this before the show. What was the single most groan-worthy thing? Yeah, that was it. That was the most groan-worthy thing. That Jurassic Park thing, with like that animated explanation to the people that are about to be de-rest anyway.
Yeah, I mean, and then you also have like the needless bureaucracy, like the whole take a ticket thing, and then walk through the lines, even though there's like nobody there. And then you have that one jerk who refuses to take it. Then he gets to the top, and then they like disintegrate him instead of just sending him back. Like it's just it's so
It felt like an SJW's version of the prison system.
or yeah, like an outside
Like everybody's
perspective.
guilty right away and treated like shit in the you know how they'll.
Well, yeah, here's the other question. How are you supposed to defend from an accusation like being a time variant?
Well, there isn't. So that like the whole trial is a complete waste of time and a sham anyway. Since you're,
Yeah, it's a
you
kangaroo
know what
trial.
it reminds me of? Like it reminds me of like those the quintessence in Transformers, the animated movie. Doesn't matter what you're charged with, you're guilty just for being there, and that's
Well,
always the verdict.
yeah, I actually think if they would have gotten rid of everyone, as far as like the judge or all that stuff, paid homage to the maybe make keeping the Infinity Stones a mystery, focus on Owen and the troops going out and doing that, give it a little more mystery, be really cool, a lot better than what we got. And yeah, that moment, that Jurassic Park moment, you're absolutely right.
I'm starting to feel about these variant ideas as I do about variant covers on comics.
They're only there for sales and not for anything of substance.
Basically, that's what it kind of feels like here. This ain't really Loki. I mean, it's Tom Hiddleston, but they already told us the real Loki's dead. This is a variant. This is not Loki. And then we're going to get another variant, which is the bad one we saw at the end, whether it be the Lady Loki or what have you. I really don't care. That's the sad part. Here I am with this grandiose cliffhanger, and I got no like draw to come back.
Well, the other part too is they haven't exactly explained what is at stake because of these actions, and that's a big flaw that you have to address in your pilot. You have to let them know, okay, this person's killing people, right? What does that actually mean for the time variant?
WandaVision had the same problem, yeah. But WandaVision managed to keep me interested up through like that 5th episode.
Well, yeah, because they presented it as like it's like she's a slave to this as well, as opposed to the person manipulating it. Like that was kind of like the bait and switch. And the thing that was at stake is that a town is it wasn't until like the end of that first episode we realized the town is kind of being held.
I want to say it was more like the 2nd episode, but I could be wrong.
Well, again, remember it was split into 2 parts for one. They split it up.
Yeah, there's that problem too. Yeah. And again, here we go again with the same problem. Should these really be, this is one of those few times I'll say the binge model is better, because these are clearly made and they keep boasting them that way as big elongated films that are just chopped up into little episodes.
After having so incredibly much padding as to make them unwatchable.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like that's the biggest detriment to this whole thing. If I would have got like a 2-hour Loki movie, it might be a different story. But here we saw almost an hour already of whatever, and it's just kind of like he was in the DMV the whole fucking time.
Yeah, I guess. And again, to me, that's what killed it, is that whole DMV and the way that it looked with that like 50s, 60s look. Why the hell would like this uh, pan-dimensional entity made by seemingly the gods of the multiverse look like 1950s Earth design? And don't tell me that was Loki's imagination or our imagination or something like that, because that's utter bull crap.
I think it's trying to
there's
be modeled a little bit in after the time that it was introduced in the comics, I think in the 60s or 70s. And I think they're trying to play around with that idea, but they're not, it's not quite aligned, I would say.
no, it's not working. I mean, whatever magic the MCU had to have like this mass appeal for a decade is gone now. If there's like different people in the writer's room, well, that's for certain, that's one thing. Or if Feige has lost his touch, or if he's misguided, or what, I don't know. But I do think that we're very soon going to start seeing those articles that Kamran Pasha was warning us about would come, the ones questioning if Kevin Feige has lost his touch.
Well, I would have
Because
to remind people that as much as a lot of people like to laud Kevin Feige for what he's doing with Marvel, he isn't really the be all end all in charge up there. If you go back to some old interviews with regards to, say, Captain America: Civil War, the writing team and even the directors themselves had no idea that Peter Parker Spider-Man was going to be in that film, and they were very close to production. And basically, Feige couldn't even confirm or deny it for the longest time because he didn't know either. It wasn't until like he walked into the room and said, "Okay, guys, we got to start working on some other stuff." And then he gives them the Spider-Man web slinging sign with his hand, and he's like, "This is it." And then he just walked away, and that's all they learned. And then the rest of the information trickled out as to what they could do and what they could get away with. But they were like right up to the wire at that point, and that just telegraphed to me at that time that Feige may be in charge of the operation, but he doesn't get to make all the decisions of the direction of what this cinematic universe is really going. I think he has some input, but the call is not his at the end of the day.
who has taken over then? Who's making that decisions? Because they're certainly not doing a very good job at it.
It's probably some of the powers that be on the Disney side of things. I would not be surprised with Bob Iger and his team that he had at the time before he left.
So it's Iger's fault again. My God, he really overstayed his welcome, didn't he?
Well, not only that, I contend that when Marvel Studios had their deal with Paramount, they had a lot more free reign. And as soon as Disney got in there, started negotiating, that's when things started to turn. And the first sign was obviously with Iron Man 2. Avengers, while a huge tentpole film, you can tell like the quality and the inventiveness of what we saw with the first three Marvel movies was not really quite there. And then you kind of get into this formula for the series after that, once it was fully distributed by Disney. And I think that is, the top brass over at Disney now, which I believe it's under Bob Chapek and his team now. They're taking the reins, and I think Iger has his input as well. But yeah, I don't think it's entirely Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige has a team that's doing really well under these parameters, but I think if they didn't have Disney's sort of branding over top of them, I think the quality would be better. We wouldn't have a lot of these issues that we're getting here, because again, they're being instructed to take these stories that I wouldn't be surprised were pitched as 2-hour films initially, and being told we want this for Disney Plus, not for theatrical release. And they're having to rework them in that vein, and they're getting new writers in there with TV experience to sort of rework whatever those concepts were into this model. And I don't think it's working right now. This is their third strike essentially, and it's mid pitch really.
No, I agree completely. It really looks like that, especially if you look at WandaVision, because WandaVision is like, I have seen it from beginning to end. I haven't done that with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but just judging from that one, that was very obviously a 2-hour movie that was padded like there was no tomorrow to make it the miniseries that it became. And in my opinion, to its detriment, it would have been far, far better as a 2 hour movie. I also think that if some fans were to make a fan edit in which they cut the whole thing down to a 2 hour cut, it probably would be better for it. And my worry is, as you say, it's going to be the same thing here. It's going to be the same nightmare all over again.
Yeah, most likely.
Can we all acknowledge the one bit where Owen Wilson just lost his man card too?
Yeah, I saw it on the second time.
You know what I
saw it on the
I'm
second
so
time.
happy, so happy. I'm looking up at you all the time. It always feels like I'm talking up at you, and I'm so glad you're up there. And
yeah, he's
just that, and
he's like, I've noticed I'm always looking up to you.
Yeah, I've noticed I'm always.
And then he says that, and then
I
he's
like that,
and I'm okay with that. I was like,
I think he said I like that, but yeah,
it seems like he was trying to be flirtatious with it, but the words didn't mix in properly.
It came out like the most SJW scene I've ever seen in my life.
It was complete cringe. And
sorry, I know you hate that word, Andre.
Then they had this very young actor as the judge. I mean, I was really frustrating. And
that was part of my issue too, Paulie. It was more so like this, like obviously Owen Wilson's much older than this person. Why is he acting like she's so much more wise and all this other kind of crap, unless he's like kissing her ass or flirting, or in this instance, you know, whatever. But like that, or you get somebody who's a bit more prominent feeling than it doesn't have to be, you know, like, you know,
or you just don't have that scene. You didn't need it. He could have said all that while they're just hanging out and talking. Clearly, the strength of this is their chemistry, their little one-on-one scenes. I really liked
between Owen and
Hiddleston. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because they're actors, they're good actors, and they know what they're doing.
Yeah, and
you know
that other, you know, then even the guard going after him, it's like so unbelievable. I mean, you know, Loki would have shredded this person. I don't understand.
I'm
Loki
sure Larry Bird and Scottie Pippen would have a hell of a game of one-on-one too, but that doesn't mean I want to sit there and watch it. I don't know. But anyway, sorry, Paulie, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No. I just, you know, even before they had Loki at their office, whatever the hell it's called. They're in Mongolia, right? And she's gonna put the time strap on him. When he went to attack, it was like he didn't have any powers, and she pulled that
collar
time baton
so fast. Yeah.
What's that?
She pulled out that collar and hit him so fast. It's like Loki wouldn't fall for that.
Loki would have maneuvered and shredded.
Well, he got out of it too with like it was nothing when he did get out of it. That's what really kind of boggled me.
Then, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah.
What a wasted opportunity to make Loki DB Cooper.
Oh yeah, that too. Like
that was cool, but you're right.
They could have done more with that shit. That would have.
There's a couple more things they could have done with that to really make that joke hit. And I think someone on Twitter, I think earlier pointed out there's a couple of inaccuracies to the descriptions for the leaving the airplane part, which I was like, okay. I mean, because that felt very much like a Marvel comic book type of in joke that they would have done back in the 80s. But yeah, it just felt like they could have done like an extra 2 minutes with that and really have it hit home.
Yeah, there are so many things they could have done differently here. And if it was up to me, the biggest difference would have been to take the entire existing concept that they had for the series when it was still on the concept and scripting stage, roll it into a little ball and throw it out the window and start over. Because that whole time agency causes, I think, me to reject that whole series outright.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind the idea of them like somebody bringing in the stray Loki to help with something kind of thing. Like that part didn't bother me, but yeah, I think you're right with the timeline thing. We're getting too convoluted now. And I was somebody who always stuck up for the time time stuff in Endgame, and now I'm thinking y'all are making me look like a big asshole right
And
now.
actually, I don't mind the time and timeline stuff. I do mind the execution, because the
Yeah,
moment when you have an agency like this that looks like something from the 60s with humans and bureaucracy and stuff like that's too big an ask. That's way too big an ask.
And then the rules don't quite fall in line with how they're exploring this area as well. Like that's why time travel is really hard. You have to set the rules, you got to stick to them. And if for some reason you have to break the rule to complete your story, you then have to go back to the drawing board and redefine the rules so that your story makes sense. Otherwise, you end up screwing it up. And that's why there are so many issues with time travel films.
Well, let me ask you this: did the time travel for you script, did it work in Avengers Endgame?
To me, no.
Mm-hmm.
Because it alienates the one part, which is that from the theory that they use, every time they jump in time to another location, they are essentially going to a new universe. There's no way they could ever return to their original universe with that theory.
Right, which is technically accurate if you really get down into it. Like if you leave your time and go to another timeline, or go to another time, you're basically creating a whole new timeline.
And you're not ever going back to where you
can't ever get back. Exactly. And that's like, with Back to the Future, where we have a lot of people have that theory, and I believe it's true, is that not only does Marty create a time loop, when we see Back to the version of we're seeing in Back to the Future is probably like the 500th Marty. You know what I mean? Like,
that's one way. I mean, they write it more with the concept of there's only ever one timeline.
I know, but it's still kind of you can really have to get around with it because of the paradox bullshit. Because what Hulk says in Endgame is technically true. Like all that stuff is kind of true, but they don't really. You're right, script. They don't really adhere to that.
Yeah, and they don't save their original timeline. They save another timeline.
Exactly, and this show is even more of an extension of that. I feel like.
Yeah. So it was already weak at best to begin with, right? Script.
Yeah.
And now you're going off of weak world, time travel, whatever that they set up, into making something even more
difficult to keep track of, so to speak.
Confusing. Very difficult, right? And that's why. So that's it's very problematic. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah. With that, let's hear what you guys have to say in the super chats. There's not too many comments about Loki, but we'll get to them anyway. Eskimono Phono says, hello. Well, greetings to you. Joey Hollywood Film says, Amazon removed 1-star reviews for Star Trek Picard. Oh, do they have any reviews left then? That's my second question. And Dash D's, referring to an earlier super chat today, says for 10 Canadian dollars, okay, Tom, a red devil is a spoon lure with a treble hook fishing lure. It's colored red and white. It spins, it flashes like injured fish to lure in bottom feeding fish to come after it. So now we learned that. Red devil is more than just the douche dog.
Well, not just that, it's kind of pertinent to this conversation because that little red devil thing they're trying to lead us into, it's like a lure, and I ain't biting. I don't really give a shit. I'll watch it out of obligation, but I'm kind of where I am with I'm not quite where I am with Star Trek and stuff like that, but I'm not like, I can't wait for the next episode of Loki.
Speaking of Red Devil, did you notice that just like in WandaVision, there was a very subtle Mephisto reference in this one as well?
Yeah, I think they're almost alluding to that Loki is a version of Loki is technically probably Mephisto, or there's something more to it that we're just whatever. I just don't care at this point to really, But I think you're right. Yeah. That's why I meant with the Red Devil thing, because remember the little kid pointed at the window?
Yes, exactly. That's where that was. But also in WandaVision, there was this blow up balloon that was in the image of Mephisto. No matter how much the showrunner may deny ever having heard of Mephisto.
Yeah, and they had Mephisto in the wallpaper or whatever, wasn't it? Like his face showed up in the wallpaper or whatever. I thought.
maybe. But anyway, so he's there as well. So script, do you think Mephisto is going to show up here, or is he still waiting for Multiverse of Madness?
Just to the chat, we are live. I put my video on just so you guys can see, but people are asking. And we are doing the Zoom to practice for the Stand Deliver reunion panel tomorrow. So we're trying to see if this works. So
yeah,
thanks
and,
everybody.
Yeah, and as you can see, we do need that practice. So we'd rather have completely black screens and everything right now, so we don't have to deal with that tomorrow. So yeah, there is that aspect to it. But yeah, Polly, since we have you here, Mephisto, do you think we'll see him, or is it just more pointless teasing?
I mean, I'd like to stay. Hey Tom. I'd like to stay positive.
Hi.
But you guys are like really making it hard.
Yeah, but but here's
I
the
kind of
thing.
went in lukewarm, and now I'm just like, fuck the show.
Yeah,
I actually want to be positive. I love Tom Hiddleston as Loki. I even liked Thor: The Dark World because of him. He saved that movie for me. He really, really did. Whereas as it is right now, I want to like it, but I can't. It's too much of an ask. I can make a comparison. You know what this is? This temporal agency, the way it looks and everything. You know how big an ask that is? Think back to Terminator Woke Fate, when in the very first 3 minutes, John Connor is shot. He's killed off. Like the previous movies, everything is like made renderless. That was an ask that the filmmakers made of the audience. They asked you to go along with that and get excited for something new, that they're going a different direction here. I consider that ask to be every single bit as big and way too big as this whole time agency thing.
Oh, you fixed it, Mike? Oh, Mike.
No, we just show up because we're on video.
Oh, yeah. So no, we're showing up single because we guys in the chat, we did not hit a setting correctly, but that's why we're practicing. So again, forgive us. What was the in Mongolia when he zapped out and then we're looking to the sky? Did anyone notice that little critter running across the sand?
Looked like a scarab.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was just
or a beetle. Yeah.
Maybe it was the variant.
Could have been.
Because it kind of like, was all draped. I don't know. I thought that was kind of like weird and cool, but so Andre, the question I have is can this get better?
Of course it can get better. It's pretty far down below already. So it's a matter of where do they go from here. Now, Script Doctor, he already launched a great theory that I agree with, that so far we've seen the one true timeline and it's about to split to set up the third Spider-Man movie, to give us Multiverse of Madness and all of that good stuff. Because so far there hasn't been a multiverse. We know that now. I hope the execution of it is going to be fine. If the execution is fine, then maybe I'll be able to get over this first episode. But still, it's a hard ask to get over that whole agency thing, because I just don't buy it. It's too much. And also, then you have to accept that there's predeterminism. None of our characters had free will. They might as well have been in a simulation. They might as well have been the movies that they actually are. Because they were just basically doing as was preordained that they do. Every single one. It takes away all stakes. It takes away all courage. It takes away all sacrifice. Will what is happening in later episodes fix or undo that? Well, not unless you have Mephisto or someone show up and say blah blah blah, don't care, or like it was all a joke. Beyond that, I don't know how to fix this.
I mean, I think the goal at the end is, as I said before, the only way to fix this is to destroy that institution and allow chaos to roam free, so to speak.
Yeah, I agree. And also, Sean the Movie Man 71 says I hate the predetermination aspect of the show. Yeah, exactly. Me too. I just can't get over it.
Yeah,
And,
it just takes all the wind out of the sails. So
yeah, it does.
Yeah, you guys took the wind out of my sail.
Well, I'm sorry about that, but that's a
well, that's why we're discussing.
Yeah,
because you guys brought up some good points.
But that's a pretty big issue, isn't it? The Avengers, I mean, Thanos, he never sacrificed Gamora. He did as he was preordained to do. Tony Stark didn't sacrifice himself. His entire life up to that point was as was written in the stars long, long before he was ever born. They're all just mindless automatons.
Yeah, they're puppets. Essentially, they're just like the actors that portray them. They just do what they're told with no choice of how to proceed.
Exactly. This episode made the entire MCU saga a stage play.
Yeah, far more literally than intended.
Yeah, maybe a little too waiting for Godot.
That's a good one, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, this is what happens when you just, these, I don't know if the writers don't like comic books and don't like superheroes, but they try to make it into their own thing. And it's just like, and to have Hiddleston sign off on this because he's an executive producer, it's just like kind of like even.
That's just to sweeten the pot, really, for his money.
Yeah, exactly. That doesn't mean anything. Lars Hansen, for 100 Danish krona, he has a great point here. This is the one thing that could salvage everything from my point of view. And he says, maybe they are lying to Loki and there is free will. Yeah, honestly, right now, that's the only thing that could salvage this for me, is if it turns out it's Mephisto all along, just like it was Agatha all along, and he's playing just a prank on Loki. Like, there's no agency like this. This is just me pulling a leg on you. Got you real good, didn't I? Yeah, that's the only way this can work. If they pulled the rug under it and it was all just a joke.
Yeah, pulling a prank on the God of Mischief. That would be a cool twist. I don't know if they're astute enough to do that, but we can hope.
To me, at this point, that's the only thing that's going to bring me back again into this, because you have to bring back sacrifice, free will, all those things. Without that, what the hell's the point of the entire MCU? I mean, this one episode retroactively ruined the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah. Yeah, that's putting it lightly. We're like, we created more questions than answers, and it's just like,
but the questions that just don't seem to help with their answers would not help.
Well, yeah, right.
Further,
you're right.
The thing with the questions,
they just wanted to do what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
What? They didn't do anything.
Those eyebrows did look quite nice.
Can we all agree in the chat that Tom is far more entertaining than the first episode of Loki?
This is not a very high bar.
It really isn't.
Well,
awesome.
Megba agrees with you. So there you go.
Like even the joke of the please sign that this is everything you ever said. That stack of papers is really thin, I would say, for a god that's
everything
been around
you've
for
ever
decades.
said. Yeah.
Or like thousands of years. It's like I think that would be thicker and taller or something.
You know what really bugged me about that? He signed it. He just accepted it in good faith.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
He could have signed to like some really horrendous stuff in there that they could like frame it on or whatever. Like if we used to frame him, because he didn't check, he didn't see what was in there.
Yeah, that was there primarily for a gag because I don't see how any of that could be relevant in any of the proceedings that happened after the fact. Like they did the
Yeah.
whole like you might be a robot gag, sign this gag. Yeah, it just didn't. None of that stuff came into play, and
And it only goes to show that it was all predetermined. There was no free will.
yes, then there's that as well. Yeah.
So yeah, and as Geek Tropology, our good friend from Midnight, just points out, Thor is 1,500 years old, and Loki is slightly older, like a year tops. So yeah, I mean, that stack of papers would have been small for a normal human lifespan. For someone that's been living like 1,500 years, should be like papers enough to fill that entire freaking room.
Should read Raiders of the Lost Ark boxes at the end, like.
Yeah. And Hardy Wallace wonders, what's your problem, Andre? TVA is established lore. Well, that may be, but I don't care because of the way it was executed here. It's the execution that implies that the entire MCU is just one big stage play. You can have a TVA if you execute it differently. It's the execution that ended it for me.
Yeah, that was my main issue.
I feel like I got to keep up with you here.
And while the two of them are like fighting their camera squabbles, Dan Handry says, this is actually a really good comment. You guys don't get it. The bad Loki is the female Loki. She is evil because she is fighting this institute of control, which actually controls the free choice. So she is actually fighting for freedom. Yeah, and that's all good and well. But the problem is that she should have been doing that, like, that shouldn't be happening now. Unless, of course, they go back in time and fix everything. But then what's the point of the series?
No, that was my understanding, is that this person killing him off, if that is in fact the female Loki, then yes, they are the hero of the story, and everybody else that we're watching is the villain.
Yeah, that's the only takeaway I can possibly get from this. And with that, let's do a couple of more super chats, because this series is clearly depressing since Tom and Paulie has to entertain themselves otherwise.
We're earning our super chats here.
That's right.
Yeah. So while you do that, let's see. Nicholas Horton says for £5, the Time Agency gave me vibes. The whole Time Agency has already been done, i.e. the Umbrella Academy. Daniel says for $10, thank you so much. Alternate realities allows Disney to gender and race swap every main character. Just use a dimensional event storyline like DC's Flashpoint. The rules don't matter. Disney will just want the swaps. And Stephen Otten says, wannabe Minority Report means Jupiter ascending. Yeah, kind of, a little bit. Jupiter descending was also so incredibly disappointing.
I have it, but I've never watched it. I think I have it. Maybe I don't.
Yeah, no, just carry on that way. I mean,
yeah, I don't remember.
That's like the sci-fi Cinderella, isn't it?
I don't think. Maybe I don't. I don't remember.
Yeah, it wasn't any good. I wanted it to like it, and I couldn't, no matter how hard I tried. And Dash D says for $5 Canadian. So did they make Loki a good guy? He just isn't that at all, unless it benefits him. Maybe I don't understand. Yeah, no, actually, Dash D, it's not that you don't understand. It's that there's nothing to understand yet, because they haven't revealed enough of their cards for us to say. But I wouldn't be surprised if either this Loki or some other variation of Loki is going to be the hero by the end, much as predicted. In another comment here, Master Clockwork says, so one division introduced us to chaos magic, and now Loki introduces us to the ultimate agency of order and control. Ah, now that's a good observation. Master Clockwork, kudos for making that. Yeah, this is true. So here we have the ultimate agency of control, and Wanda is the one that can do chaos magic. So here we have order versus chaos. Both are pretty evil and nasty.
Yeah.
That's actually a really, really good observation. I was kind of like hoping that they could all be separate enough that we never have to deal or watch any of them again. But yeah, that's actually a pretty clever link. I wonder if the showrunners are smart enough to have thought of that. We shall see. And Nicholas Horton says there was a variant inside the agency that looked like Peggy Carter when Loki escaped. I didn't catch that.
Yeah,
but,
it was
maybe.
really quick.
Yeah.
It was really quick.
And Master Clockwork says, I'm tired of them honey dicking the multiverse. You know what? I feel that same way too. I was actually really disappointed
That's
with
true.
Spider-Man Far From Home for that reason.
Yeah.
It looked so exciting with like villains from the multiverse and Mysterio from the multiverse. I was all in. And boy, did they pull that blanket or carpet from right under our feet.
Yeah.
And I haven't forgiven that still. That's me. And especially that whole, instead of Quicksilver, we get Ralph Boner thing. That was unforgivable. And then Twiggy McStumple Whistle says for $5, I think it would be a great spin for the variant that Loki has to catch. It's an intro for a time-hopping Deadpool, and Deadpool crashed the multiverse. Yeah, that's also something else I would accept as making this better if you bring Deadpool into it, but I don't think we're that lucky. And then Sean, the movie man 71, says female Loki will get the Cruella villain treatment. Yeah, if there is a female Loki,
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the fact that I'm changing hats just tells you how like Loki TV show. Someone said it in the chat, Wokey.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
It's not far from it yet.
Yeah.
No, it was absolutely.
I think you're gonna have a bandit appearance.
It was one where the activism was strong. Absolutely. Well, with that, we are caught up on the super chats, and I think we have discussed the show as in the Loki as much as is possible, one episode in. So starting out, you had Tom and Paul and Script, and myself that were less than pleased, and Paulie that was pretty happy with it, but that stopped over the course of this review, didn't it?
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Yes, I mean, I will definitely keep watching. So,
Puppy.
yeah,
Okay.
bandit.
They call him the bandit.
Bandito.
All right. So yeah, anybody else got anything to say about Loki other than
So I hope it's over soon. I hope they're able to say that this was all someone playing a trick on the trickster god of mischief. Because if not,
yeah.
God, that's the end of the MCU.
That would be a great plot, but
that actually would be
Yeah.
a good twist if
That
this
would be-
whole thing
Mhm.
is someone playing a prank on him.
I mean, that's the only. I mean, that would kind of make sense out of this nonsense, but I don't think they're gonna go there.
Yeah, no. And Straight White Mage says for $2 or for $2, they faked the Mandarin in Iron Man 3. I want Gwenpool. Yeah, well, look for it. Yeah, don't hold your breath for that. And Dash D's says for $5 maybe Cable. He jumps time. At least he's established. Yeah, he's established in the Fox continuity. And
Yeah.
that one doesn't exist because it's just one true timeline. Until it's presumably broken up here.
Yep.
So yeah,
Yeah. Mr. Tickle Chunk asked me if there's aspects I liked. A lot of aspects. I said it earlier. You know,
Yeah.
I love the music. I mean, I even felt more the music the second time around. I'll probably, try to find it on Spotify or something. I love some of the filming of it, and of course, Hiddleston and Owen by themselves. That's it.
Also, like another great comment here from 300 Mirrors. It was Agatha all along. Again. Yeah, if Agatha is the one tricking Loki into believing in like this stupid agency, then yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Palpatine's behind it all.
And let me just say that the chat has been awesome. Don't worry about my feelings, man. You guys are keeping it real. Really,
Palpatine's
really.
behind it all.
Oh, Palpy.
Trust me. Palpatine's
Why-
behind it all.
Why are you taking off show your face, man?
Who wants to see my ugly mug?
Why is it just gotta be me?
Because you're beautiful, Polly.
Jesus.
Inside and out.
Oh,
I got a face for radio, though. As you can see.
Yeah, well, watching drivel like Loki turned out to be isn't making that any better whatsoever. So with that, before this gets even more depressing, I think we're going to round out this stream. But there's more streaming. Paulie,
Yes.
What other stream do you have later on tonight?
well, I have two things, and I would love for you guys to come by. In an hour and a half, 6 p.m. Pacific on my channel, we're celebrating the 78th anniversary of the Zoot Suit riots. I got a historian. I got Brandon from the Daily Cella. We're going to be celebrating, playing a little bit of Zoot Suit music. That's fantastic. I'm really, really happy to be redocumenting, revisiting that. That's on my page. And then Midnight's Edge in Espanol right after, about an hour and a half after, at 7:30 p.m. Pacific. These times are Pacific. The stand and deliver watch party. So come with us. We'll meet you on YouTube. We'll get you the Discord link. You can watch the movie with us at the same time. We've run this before with other watch parties that I've had, just so we can have you guys, anyone who doesn't have access to the movie or hasn't seen it in years, watch it with us. We'll do a little commentary as we're watching the movie. Stand and deliver.
Maybe some special guests. Who knows?
Yeah, hopefully Tom will stop by. Script doctor.
Well, more than just me.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, we know Diego and Pablo and maybe Mexican Iron Man, but so yeah, that's what's going on tonight, guys. Thanks a lot.
All right.
And tomorrow, of course, is when we have the proper Stand and Deliver reunion roundtable on Midnight's Edge main channel, featuring Edward James Olmos and Lou Diamond Phillips. So be sure to check back for that. And with that, I would like to say thank you to both Paulie and to Tom and to Script for being here and helping us go through this. And of course, to Mike, the Mexican Iron Man, for helping us out behind the scenes. So kudos to all of you. And kudos to every single one of you in the chat who have been watching all of this with us. And yeah, let's hope that Loki gets better.
Why? What's wrong with him? Is he sick?
And Patrick Leholier also says, sorry guys, this time I disagree. Loved it. Well, cool. Glad. I'm
No, that's
glad for
cool,
you.
man.
I'm glad that you like it. I mean, just because 3 out of 4 of us didn't love it doesn't mean that you don't have to. So if it worked for you, that's the only person it has to work for. And with that, we are going to wish you all a great continued day, and we will be seeing you all very, very soon, certainly tomorrow.
How do I know you're on that variance?
You don't. That's for the time agency to know. And also, do you really have free will, or are you just a robot? Which is something that Loki seriously asked himself.
Yeah, that was dumb. Anyway,
that was really dumb.
I don't know how to end this thing, so
Yeah, no, but I do.
Okay.
So it's okay.
I do. Nice.
thank God, because I don't.
Thank God someone does.
All right. Well, with that, everyone.
Take care, everybody.
I hope that you enjoyed it. Take care, and we'll be seeing you soon.
Peace.